Thinker Television, brought to you by Sportsman's Warehouse, the great indoors for those who love the great outdoors. Toyota Trucks, moving forward. Hewlett-Packard, invent. St. Croix Rod, handcrafting fishing rods for over 60 years.
All right, 5:30 in the morning. Idling out of the marina on Horsetooth Reservoir here in northern Colorado. Pretty excited about it. You know, being that it is June here, we could probably catch fish a lot of ways. We're gonna do some topwater fishing. We'll probably fish some jerk baits. We'll fish a whole variety of either soft plastics or gulp products. Maybe swim a power grub, something like that. Will give us a good opportunity to catch a variety of fish. I love this time of year because we got all kinds of options for catching them. So it should be fun. We're gonna try to teach you guys some stuff, and gonna be a beautiful time to be out on the lake here this morning. We're gonna get just an absolutely gorgeous sunrise. This is why we get up early, to get out here and enjoy the mornings like this. So I'm not particularly a morning person, but we'll see how it goes here in just a second, and see if I can get alert and get awake, and see if I can get my string pulled right off the bat. We got a bunch of stuff in the boat and we're ready to go. So hang in there and we'll see how it goes. You can see here, we got a little point coming out. You can probably see it here just a little bit left of me. I got a little rock ridge coming out, sticks way out into the bay, got a little sand pocket behind it. I throw this topwater bait over the top of that point, and then work it real gentle. We're not going to overwork the bait. We don't want it to vacate the area in a hurry. We want to leave it in the area for the most part, and there it got tapped. See if fish will come back and get it. He's right on top of that point, just like he's supposed to be. Apparently he read the book. Got him that time, there we go. Now I kind of had to let him sip at it. I just was barely moving the bait and just let him sip at it. And he finally came and got it. I'm gonna swing him on up in here. There you go, topwater bait. First thing in the morning, springtime. A little topwater like that's hard to beat. And we hope to do better than that today. But I can tell you this, topwater bait like that, twitched on the surface, very hard to beat. Got a beautiful morning like this, absolutely gorgeous out. What more could a guy want than topwater fishing for smallmouth? Got it on a topwater specific rod. If you notice, this rod's very, very, very fast action. When I pull on this, just the very tip of this rod is bending. It's not bending down here in the butt of the rod. Makes it for a very subtle little rod for working a topwater bait. You can just real gentle with it. So real good equipment, perfect for what we're doing. Anytime I'm working a section of bank, bass fishermen are famous for working sections of bank. Walleye guys work sections of bank. Panfish, same thing. I'm going to look at my transitions. If you notice, I've got hard rock. Then just to the right of that hard rock, I've got some soft gravel, kind of sand mix. Then I go back to slab rock that's all flat slab rock. And then up here I got another little cut in the rocks again. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna throw my bait into that cut in the rock up in the transition area. Instead of throwing my bait out in the wide open rock, I'm gonna hit one of those transitions. That's gonna be my higher percentage spots day in and day out. There's no way in the amount of time I have to fish today that I could fish all the banks around this lake. So I'm gonna focus on the high percentage areas. I know my fish are trying to spawn, therefore I know they're going to want some relation to that gravel. They spawn on that gravel. So anything that has to do with that gravel is going to be potentially a good spot. Anytime you have a transition with that gravel, it's going to be that much better. Now, besides this walking bait that we're working, we may be able to get bites on a buzz bait. There we go, got that one right there. Boom. But if they're gonna bite the walking bait, then we'll just stick with that. Because topwater's first thing in the morning is really hard to beat. And this fish is fired up. We're gonna swing him up in here. We're happy to have that one. Nice little smallmouth, grab the topwater first thing in the morning. He read the book. He knows it's springtime. He knows it's going to appeal to his aggressive nature to have a topwater bait like that. Get over the top of his head. He wants to hold up his reputation as the meanest fish in the lake, so smallmouth bass jumps right on it. Again, the same little walking bait. One little rigging trip, let's see if we can get this on the camera here, is that I've got a loop knot tied ahead of this. I've got a little perfection loop tied ahead of the bait right there, and that allows that bait to swing really freely in the water. And so when I'm working this bait, it can work back and forth very freely by having that perfection loop on there. It just makes my job as an angler a little bit easier. There's a fish right there. All right. And that guy thumped the little hollow belly. Got him. All right, we'll take that one right there. Now he just swam up and ate that bait. We got the little tube bait. Nice little smallmouth there. Gotta like that one. We'll give him a kiss for good luck. All right, that's a good sign. Now we got a wind chop on the lake here where we didn't have wind a little bit ago, and now we have wind on the lake. So I put the topwater bait down. I got a little paddle tail, little thumper bait like that. Looks real good in the morning sun. So we'll see if we can continue to get bites with that.
A jighead is the oldest lure in fishing. It's also the most basic and certainly the most versatile, but not all jigheads are created equal. If you look here, I have 4 types of jigheads. They all weigh exactly the same thing, but they don't do the same thing. First one here is a tube jighead. This is designed to go inside a tube jig, something like this. It's got a 90-degree eye to it, and it's designed to allow the bait to fall horizontally as possible. If I want to really maintain bottom contact, I want a football head like this. It's shaped like a football. It's an excellent jig for walking or dragging on the bottom. Typically with a crayfish presentation, it's an excellent choice. If I've got a minnow presentation, something along the lines of this that I intend to swim through the water column, a darter head's the way to go. A darter head jig like this glides nicely in the water. Works very, very good with something like a minnow imitation, a gulp minnow or a jerkbait, something like that. If you got to pick one, pick the ball head jig. The ball head jig's the most versatile. It will, in a pinch, suffice to do all the things we have here. Ball head jig's the way to go. If you select your jig to match your application, you'll catch more fish.
If I'm out looking for spawning fish, and again, there's some guys will tell you shouldn't fish for spawning fish, and some guys will tell you it doesn't matter. Division of Wildlife, who I spend an extensive amount of time with on this lake, tells me there are too many smallmouth in here. So if I disrupt a couple of beds and they don't have a perfect spawn, it's really no different than somebody keeping a few fish, which the Division of Wildlife encourages folks to keep some of the smaller smallmouth that are just over the size limit. You want sheltered banks, you want a mix of gravel and rock. We've got, if you can see this bank here, we've got a mix of slab rock and gravel all together. It's a perfect combination of spawning cover for them. They need that gravel to actually build their nest in. Smallmouth can be anywhere from a foot or 2 deep all the way to several feet deep, so maybe as many as 10 or 12 feet deep. Now here, there's one here, we got one right over here, and this one's real shallow. We'll see if this one wants to play. I'm gonna put this gulp craw up there and I'm gonna drag it down here like he's a little nest robber, and he's on it right away. He's looking at it right away. He's thinking about it right off the bat. He's thinking, get out of my, he's got it right there. Got him, just like that, no problem. And the whole deal is he just doesn't want that thing in his nest. That's what the whole shooting match comes down to, is that that thing looks like it's a little egg eater, and he looks like he's gonna get it. We're gonna see if we can gracefully get him to come up here in the boat. Swing him up in here. That's a nice one there. This thing, see his tail is all chewed up like that? That's from spawning activity. This fish has been fighting for his spot, and he's got himself a good spot to spawn. It's a beautiful fish. We're gonna be quick about getting him back, but you get the idea. When they start seeing their tails chewed up like that and they're up in this real shallow water, that's because they've been spawning. We'll let him go and he'll go right back where he came from. A smallmouth will come a very long ways up to get a bait, pretty commonly. They have no problem coming from just some pretty serious depths to come up and get a topwater bait working on the surface. If they're of any mindset at all to hit on the surface, which a lot of the time smallmouth can be surface oriented, and largemouth as well, You know, don't think that a topwater bait's only a shallow water bait. This particular lake's got a lot of steep banks on it. These fish have no problem coming 10 or 12 or 15 feet up in a hurry to get a bait. It's like that. Now that fish, now that's a giant one there, folks. That's a huge one, just kidding. Okay, it's a little guy, but what does illustrate my point, and that is that bait was in like 15 feet of water, and that little tiny fish came from however deep down to get that bait from that deep water. And it's pretty neat, you know. I mean, the cool thing about it is the fact that they come right up from way down there. I don't have to put a bait necessarily down in their face to get them to eat it. Smallmouth are so aggressive about something that it's pretty common they'll come up from way down to get a bait. Now what we're finding out here is we're actually not getting any of the big bites that I was hoping we'd get on the topwater this far. And so we may end up having to, we may end up needing to take the bait to the fish when it comes to catching the big ones. Generally speaking, you can, a lot of times big smallmouth will come up from deep to get a topwater bait. There, we got that one there. A lot of times, look at it, he's got 2 or 3 buddies with him. See that? He's got like 2 or 3 other buddies that were running with him. This one's a little bit bigger here, and he had a couple of buddies that were running with him. Yeah, we like this one. This is a nice one here. That's a good topwater fish. Come up and eat that, that little popper bait first thing in the morning. Does it get any better than that? I mean, that's purty. I guess they get bigger, but other than that, that's about what you want. He's hooked right in the very top of the lip. Little popper like that, real bright colored popper. We're trying to appeal to their aggressive nature. Beautiful morning sun, little smallmouth. I'll definitely kiss that one. We'll take that one all day. And what we're looking at, folks, is it's June. We've got fish pulling up on beds. There's tons and tons of smallmouth in this lake. Division of Wildlife says there's too many of them, so it really doesn't bother me to pester a few of them on beds. We're gonna use a little gulp craw and a jig head right here, a little gulp crayfish. I'm gonna try to set it down on them when we can find one here in the shallow water that's up spawning. We'll see if we can get a photo or get them on film before we catch them. And we'll see what happens. They tend to spawn in this lake, anywhere from no depth at all to fairly deep. Now here's one right here. We'll see if he wants to play. Just like that. Just like that. Now that's why you use a little gulp crayfish. A crayfish is very much a natural enemy of a spawning smallmouth. And we've got a reasonably good sized smallmouth. Got a perfect hook set right in the tip of the snoot. Look at that. Doesn't get any easier than that. Pretty straightforward. Just a little 1/8 ounce jig head. Not a lot to it. Real simple. Had a 3-inch gulp craw, which I'll show you. Got a beautiful little spawning fish. Now that's a male, so there's going to be a big female that moves in here at some point, but it's real pretty little smallmouth. You saw how we sniped him right off there. Put the bait in front of the fish. We can go ahead and get him back so we can get back to spawning. Real simple, just like that. If you were here, I'd high five you. Got that one right off the bat, just like that. He just come right over there and ate it. And the deal is, there's a giant, there's 2 giants right here in front of me. The deal is the crayfish is the natural enemy of a smallmouth bed. And it's actually a little bigger fish than I thought he was. I really wasn't all that worried about getting him, but since he played, another one on the little gulp craw right there, real simple. Nice little fish on him, real healthy, real pretty fish. We're gonna go ahead and put him back right quick so he can get back to doing what he wants to do, and that's of course spawn. So we're gonna go ahead and be real gentle with him and get him back right quick. He's looking. He got it. Got him. There we go. It's like that. Fired up. The gulp products are just absolutely tailor-made for this kind of stuff because it looks natural, it smells natural. It's everything you want in a bait, and it works real good for getting these smallies in the boat. It's a nice fish for the lake, not a giant, but again, we're going to put it back and we're going to let him go back to spawning real quick. Then I'm going to get me another gulp craw and we're going to go on and see if we can catch us another one. Did you get it? He did, yep. Okay, got him. All right, there we go. That's a nice one there. All right, and we're right here underneath these, right in front of these happy campers. He's all kinds of cutting up here. Come on over here, buddy. Come on over here. Come on over here. Hey, come on over here. Good morning. Little gulp crayfish strikes again. Got another big, fat, beautiful, absolutely gorgeous horsetooth smallie. Now, people come in here and they catch a lot of small fish, and the thing is they don't fish different ways. You got to mix it up. I could go on and pick up a lot of small fish if I wanted as well, but we'd rather get these old big ones. Beautiful color on that fish. You can't ask for anything any better than that. I'll definitely kiss this one. We're gonna put that one back. Beautiful fish. Let him go another day. See you, buddy. Got him that time. There we go. All right, well, this guy's got another good one here. And he's working that 6-pound. He's gonna come up and jump right here. Another nice one. All right, we're gonna pull the boat out off the bank just a touch here. Look at this one underneath him too. All right, see if I can get a hold of him up underneath the front of the boat. He is fired up. Look at the colors on this one. I'm telling you what, folks, look at the gorgeous red eyes, all the beautiful color on that. That is the kind of smallmouth that we're talking about catching here. I mean, that's a solid fish. I don't even know how long that fish is, but I'll tell you what, if you can't come and get excited about catching smallmouth that look like that, I don't know what else to tell you. June anywhere in the western United States is a great time. This is very early June. Go ahead and put this one back real quick here. Look at the colors. Look at the size of that thing. Is that not a beautiful fish? Watch how casual. That's the fun part right there. There's a little one. Here he is. See him? See him? He's on it. Got him. That's a nice one there. He's gonna come up. Oh, buddy. Come on, Charlie. Hang on there. Look at that thing, bulldog. Inch for inch, pound for pound, the gamest fish that swims in fresh water right there. That's your smallmouth. Hooked right in the corner of the mouth, just like you want. That's a nice one. Got him on 6-pound line. You can hear this little Shimano giving a perfectly smooth drag, giving us a nice orchestra of smooth drags. All right, come on over here. Open up and got him. Oh man, I'll tell you what, if you're gonna be fishing and catching smallmouth like this is a really good morning. That's a really beautiful smallmouth. Nice green one. You notice some of them are all barred up. This one's got the real nice green color to them. I'm gonna kiss every one of these all morning long. No worse for the wear. Put her back to play with somebody else another day. Look at them straight back to the bottom. All right, got a little pocket up in here. Got a little rock pile in the middle of it. Got some early spring smallies. Not expecting necessarily a giant, but this is called fun with fish. Throw it up there. Let it sit, don't move it. And oh, he's on it. Hang on, we'll give it back. Give it another minute. We'll see if we can get one to get it. Kind of working the bait real aggressive out there. And got that one, just like that. That's why we call it fun with fish. It's a little game we play with smallmouth in the spring. Now again, I'm not expecting this fish to be huge by any stretch, but how can you have more fun than that? You got a fly rod? You want to catch one on your fly rod? This is the time to do it. You can come back in the backs of these little coves. You can catch these little guys on like a 5-weight or 6-weight with a little popper. I do it with a 6-weight Legend Ultra. It's just a little guy, but man, how much fun is that? I'm gonna make one more long cast up in here. This is where the braided line helps. We're gonna try to get all the way up in the corner up in there. Real tight like that. Now that's tough to do on anything but braid with a light little popper like that. And I was rewarded with a fish, just like that. Now see, this is the game we call fun with fish. No, but seriously, You know, it's just real simple. Just a popper in the springtime, anywhere that largemouth, smallmouth, you're going to catch some fish. There's no question about that. If you just focus on some of the surface feeders, they're all designed to feed up. Now again, this guy's a little tiny fish, you know, but when you get to throw up there like that and you get to watch him hit it, it's a great way to introduce people to the sport. And you never get any snags either. Unless you throw it on the bank, you don't ever get any snags. All right, so we're messing around here. It started raining. And we stashed the camera, and just we're getting the camera back out. I threw 2 seconds too soon because I'm not too smart, and I have just hooked a hoss of a smallmouth. Whoo! So we missed the hook set because we were messing around after the rain. But what I did is I threw a little hollow belly, 5-inch hollow belly bait on a medium rod. And fluorocarbon line, beautiful smallmouth. Just come up and ate that thing right as it swam by, pretty as you please. We plan to stay out and fish some more. We had some other fishing we wanted to do, but as you can see behind me, we're getting big, nasty cloud cover and some big old lightning. And I don't care how big of priorities you have on the lake, how much fun you're having that day, when it starts getting lightning like that, you need to get off the lake. I can tell you, I'm gonna get off the lake. So thanks for joining us on Fishful Thinker Television, and we'll see you next week. Seasoned professional, just pulled that thing away, tangled it all up all in one shot. Absolutely brilliant. I preach nerves of steel and I have nerves of a rubber band. I'll be pulling this bait out of cameraman Tim here if I get excited and yank it real hard and it comes flying back at the boat. Ooh, that was a big one. We want that one to come back. Oh, blap! Okay. Now, that was called foreshadowing. That's what happens when you call. That's called foreshadowing, when you smack your cameraman. Let's just say it's a good thing he's already a father.